Now, Venezuela is mobilizing military forces amid rising tensions with the United States. Earlier this week, the Maduro government deployed warships and drones to patrol the country's coastline in response to the arrival of 3 American destroyers in the region. Now, those U.S. ships dispatched by the Trump administration to combat drug trafficking. For more on this story, we can bring in our foreign affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Doug, good to see you. What is going on exactly? What is the United States doing, and how is Venezuela responding?
Well, in the very broadest context, this is part of an ongoing, what I mean by almost a decade, really. We have had brinkmanship, i.e. tensions between Venezuela and the United States, with rumors swirling on and off over the years, persistent rumors which have never come to fruition, that somehow the U.S. is on the verge of a military invasion or regime change, looking to oust the strongman president there, Nicolas Maduro. Now, let's be clear. The U.S. administration, Donald Trump, has called Nicolas Maduro one of the biggest drug dealers, drug traffickers in the world. He considers him an illegitimate president. And in response, he's been looking to, as he says, interdict, that is, prevent drugs flowing not just from Venezuela, but from anywhere into the region, into the United States. So what are we seeing here? Concretely, we have seen when we say a buildup of America's naval forces, a naval presence in the region. What I mean is in the waters, the Pacific, the Caribbean waters around several Central and South American countries, obviously including Venezuela, and namely Venezuela. There have been at least 8 warships sent in recent days, and we are capable, meaning capable, I suppose, of carrying nuclear weapons, and they're all carrying U.S. Coast Guard detachments, other types of law enforcement officials, presumably with the function of being able to, if not make landfall, to make arrests at sea of the drug cartel leaders that they say they're after. Now, remember, Donald Trump himself calls Maduro not a president, but the leader of a big drug cartel. And to be clear, Venezuela has flashed back. It has Maduro has been scathing, basically saying that this is, an attempt to intimidate and attack and scar the Venezuelan nation and its soil, and this will just not hold. Neither Venezuela nor nowhere else in the region. He has said he will, and he has announced the deployment. Ready for this number? 4.5 million militiamen. Don't know how he's going to do that. There is a militia force in Venezuela. But remember, Venezuela's population is just under 30 million. To deploy 4.5 million militiamen, not quite sure how that would go down. But he's calling on reservists. He's calling on civilians to rally together against the imperial threat, the Yankee threat from above. And I'll also say his government has written a formal letter to the United Nations denouncing what it sees as an illegal move by the U.S., intimidation, especially in what they say is this use of these nuclear-capable submarines. So this is a tit-for-tat, which is getting a lot louder and a lot nastier.
Is the U.S. looking for regime change in Venezuela, or is this...
Right.
What's going on?
Once again, many Venezuelans shrug it off. The Venezuelans say this has been going on for years. There's been no end to rumors on one side or the other. Maduro's about to fall. Maduro himself saying the U.S. is about to get me. Coup attempts, bringing him down. Donald Trump posturing even in his first term. So the Venezuelans are sort of fed up with all the rumors. They don't really believe anyone anymore. They're shrugging their shoulders. Life is so difficult right now, economically, socially. Everything about their lives are so difficult. This is just a more geopolitical noise that really goes in one ear, out the other, in a sense. But if you're going to directly ask me, is Donald Trump going to do it? Well, officially, the White House says Donald Trump reportedly signs a secretive directive recently authorizing the military to take any nation's actions necessary to interdict, that is, to prohibit drugs from flowing into the transit. Doesn't produce it itself. But there's no known evidence that it is a producer of fentanyl, which is actually the drug that Donald Trump has been going after here. So, you could say, what's going on? There are tremendous interests for Donald Trump's immediate agenda that Venezuela presents. One is its vast oil reserves. I will note that Donald Trump recently renewed a Biden-era license for Chevron, the U.S. oil giant, to operate in Venezuela. Chevron ships have recently been carrying that Venezuelan oil on ships back to the United States. So you have the oil interests there, right? Okay, you could say, what's new there, right? The headlines are all about oil. Look for oil at all these headlines, right? And beyond that, you also have his immigration agenda. U.S. officials, Trump administration officials, have been really, really scrambling to try to coordinate secure Venezuela's cooperation in taking in deportees from the U.S., and thousands of deportees already have been sent from immigrants from the U.S. to Venezuela since last February. So these two parts of Donald Trump's agenda, big parts of his agenda, both his interest in energy, hydrocarbons, oil, and Chevron, and the immigration, it's probably going to override any interest in an invasion. I'll just note here that the White House itself says it is not up to Donald Trump or his administration basically to try to oust these leaders. They say this is something that they are hoping the Venezuelan people will do by rising up, revolting against Maduro, and reclaiming their freedom on their own. They say no plans for military invasion, but they do say we have the right to take all actions necessary to stop the flow of drugs into the U.S.
Given the U.S.'s history in the region, I'm just curious, what do regional players think of this U.S. military presence?
Yeah, it depends which regional players you're talking about. A lot of them have been loggerheads with Trump. Obviously, it is geopolitical muscle flexing by far the dominant country in the region, the United States, under a man, Donald Trump, who has been known for, he likes tough man policies. Other leaders, see him as a bully, see him as intimidating, see him as doing it for political gain, playing to his base, and ultimately not acting on a lot of these threats. If you look at countries like Mexico, Colombia, Mexico's president, very savvy in dealing with Donald Trump, especially on the trade issues.
Yeah.
He has said publicly that she's a tough woman, a woman of steel that he respects and all of that. These are countries where he's in a position right now. Trump is about muscle flexing. Yes, he's an America First isolationist, but he also wants to appear very strong on the world stage. He wants other countries essentially to do his bidding, and he says he's the best deal maker in the world. But when people don't want to make a deal with him, he knows how to get he says he knows how to get what he wants. And this is all part of that. You could say it's posturing, but it's effective posturing to the extent that other leaders sit up and take notice. So right now you can bet that everyone in the region, this is not just about a drug cartel tit for tat between Venezuela and the U.S. All the leaders in the region, from Mexico to Colombia to Ecuador to Argentina, they are all watching what's going on here and what's going to happen in the next few weeks and months as the brinkmanship continues.
Interesting story indeed.